Yo, why do people have to be like kidnappers and stuff?
What? Yes, it's true. Yes. Why do
Like,
people have to be kidnappers and stuff? I agree with you.
I'm sorry, I was saying Move, in Mystical, I don't know if he
Mystical
ever
came
got convicted, but he was accused and charged, I believe, with kidnapping a woman, which is a very, like, what the fuck?
Facts.
But anyway, have we heard any vibrations of liveness?
Have we heard about good vibrations?
Good vibrations that show that highlight our being live on Facebook. Yep, here we're live.
Wow.
All right, welcome to Insert Name Here, hoes. Brought to you in full technicolor and living sound with the dulcet tones of the great Alejandra Tejeda.
That's me. I'm here.
the surly, contralsent, fucking
Man
goofy ass
from the hidden valley of cheeks.
from the
And
hit.
I will be
Hokage
Hokage of
the-
the hidden valley of the cheeks.
The hidden. Okay. What I usually say, Basie and shit. K and Patton, Kuma.
Woo!
The Grizzly.
My return has been returned. It's good to see you, motherfuckers.
And me, your raspy voiced, cold blooded Malachi Unique. I'm here, bitch. We all here. And you know what? It's just time to get started. So, we always start with unless somebody passed away. I don't think anybody did.
Oh, what we
Did
did
somebody
we did
pass away?
forget to mention Terrence Clark, the basketball player last week.
Yeah, that was a big oversight. Actually, Rescue and Pache Terrence Clark, who was he shot? Was he?
No, he was in a car accident.
car accident.
Even worse.
Yeah.
Not worse, but like worse.
Sad.
Yeah. So if you don't know, he was a local. He was from Dorchester, like an up and coming basketball player.
Yeah.
He was playing for Kentucky and if you know anything about college basketball, Kentucky's like top tier stuff. So
Yeah.
everybody's expecting him to go to the NBA, and unfortunately, he passed away.
It's
due to a car accident.
just unfortunate. Like
Yeah.
that's just like people gone too soon.
Man.
Young people. I always hate to see. I don't know. It just always hurts me to see a black man die before the age of like 70.
Same.
Don't do it.
Same.
Like
Me, just don't do it. Don't die, please.
Please, I don't want you to go.
Oh, I never completed that sentence. It says BPD City Council. Nothing
Yeah,
else.
I was like, I don't know
Nothing
the context
else.
behind this, but I'm sure Alejandro will tell me.
But what will we start with today? All right. I'll start with some COVID stuff. Mass reports 0 COVID deaths, first time since June 2020, which is good. We're
Yeah,
still reporting a bunch of COVID cases,
Yeah, I noticed
but
that.
no deaths. So better than anything.
I think it said like 472 cases today.
Yeah.
Not today.
But are the
Yeah.
cases dwindling?
No, they're kind of going up.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's because people are going outside more and they're vaccinated, so they think they can't get COVID.
right.
Yeah, but people are, because they're vaccinated, they're not dying, like, which is great. But
Yeah.
but we really don't want to keep like passing this around. Like, I understand. I understand. Everybody want to go outside. They have fun. They want to be like, I'm vaccinated. Why do I have to wear a mask? Somebody on Twitter, sir, you have to wear a mask because you can still catch COVID, nigga. He's like, oh, but I'm outside. But you're in a fucking protest. Crowd of motherfucking people, sir.
Yeah.
Like, this is... That is the level of entitlement. I'm sorry, Mr. 1K. You follow me, I follow you. This is... That's white leftist bullshit entitlement.
I don't have to wear a mask.
Like, you doing a little poll, like, am I an asshole? Yes, you're... ATA, you are the asshole. Yes, you are.
Please.
Put on a fucking... It's not that hard,
There
bro.
was an article about why people are, in quotation marks, addicted to wearing their mask, and I was like, we're not addicted to wearing a mask. We don't want COVID.
Like,
Yeah,
it's...
none of us want to die.
It's still a pandemic. I understand. It's been a long time. We're tired. We want to be free. We want to go outside. We want to have fun. Da 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 da. But like, it's still a pandemic. The virus is still mutating. Like, we can have stronger variants that aren't.
Like the fact that India is even going through what it's going through right now should be enough for you to like want to put your mask on in a group of like in a crowded group, which is also like part of the rule. Like you should wear your mask in a crowded group. If you're walking by yourself outside and you have a mask on you and you don't want to wear it outside, but you're by yourself and you're just like walking somewhere, fine.
Yeah, right. Like
that's fine. But if you're in a group, if it's more than 3 people outside that you don't know these 3 people outside, there's 1, 2, 3 of us in here. And if there was more than that outside.
And then what if people are immunocompromised? Yeah. Like you don't give a fuck. Like that's that shit that when people talk about, oh, you know, people aren't actually in solidarity. That's where it comes from. Like it doesn't hurt you to wear a mask. Just put on a mask.
Just wear a damn mask. Okay, so with that as well, they're saying this Thursday kids can potentially start getting the COVID vaccine.
The Pfizer.
So 12 plus years old. I'd be interested to see what the rates of those kids getting vaccinated are.
I feel like people who
for here, because Massachusetts is one of the highest vaccination rates in the country. So I'd be interested to just see like what people are like, how it will correlate to their kids.
Like I said, when I was at the vaccination site, this lady was talking about how her son is 15, and he's gonna be 16 at the end of the year, and she was like hoping that they would do this because she didn't want to wait until he turned 16 in December or something like that. And so I don't know. She was Hispanic, like probably Caribbean Hispanic, but I'm not sure. I'm not. I was gonna say I'm not sure how other people are really thinking about it. You know?
Yeah.
Because I haven't really talked to that many parents. I think did Mike say yes? I think Mike said yeah, he would. He wants his kid to get it. The one who's old enough.
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember.
He wants MJ to get it. I think he wants his kids to get it. I think also like all of my friends want their kids to get it.
Yeah, I mean, Mike was the only one who has a kid old enough.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, cause, yep.
Okay.
But, on to the next. Let's talk about what's the BPD City Council thing.
Okay, so they had a meeting talking about, because it's budget season coming up.
Oh, yay.
So,
the only thing the City Council can do.
They had a meeting with the BPD, and it was just a bunch of bullshit per usual, how they were talking about how, obviously, they were supposed to cut the BPD budget, but BPD instead, they went crazier, and they just spent more money last year because of, you know, they like to blame the protests and a bunch of other, in COVID and whatever.
Oh, yeah, running people over with our cars costs so much money. Do you realize how much thing we could get?
So, yeah, that was something that was happening with that. And it was an interesting meeting. I would go back and see review. I was looking for, like, an actual review of it, besides random things on Twitter. But just asking them, I know Julia Mejia was kind of going very hard on them, per usual, about, like, basically what have any of their efforts actually led to, like, things being done or things being prevented. Okay. And the answer is typically no, or they don't have data on it, which is really interesting because they have so much data on like everything else, but they don't have data on how much work they've actually done. So fun times when you don't have actual data on the things you're supposed to be doing. But whatever, because as we give them a shit ton of money, we should not pay attention to that because we should let it slide because it's the police and they should just be trusted.
I just like people keep saying like, well, what would you do if you got robbed? Okay, remember when somebody broke into James' car and the police officer got there? He was mad rude, mad dismissive. You know, black man, you could have been nicer, sir. We was very afraid. We'd never been robbed before. Never had to call the police, sir. We were very young, about 19 maybe. Yeah. Sir. And he was mad, like, dismissive. He was like, oh, yeah, you know, check the trash cans, whatever. Like, so, I don't know.
It's so nonchalant. We were like, wallet missing, important information missing, him.
Window broken on the car, da-da-da-da-da.
Him no care at all.
Him, we were stressed. Like, I'm like, dang, sir, you could at least been a little comforting. Like, police are just, like, if you ever interacted with the police, you know how ineffective they are. And just, like, like how they make the situation worse, not just in like tangible ways, but just in like their demeanor. They just make things worse by being there, because they're like, it takes a certain type of person to be a cop, because a lot of normal people don't want to just fuck people up and lord over people, like
fucking control.
So
it's a control thing. I think
weirdos.
it's just like not having a lack of control in your life, and you want to control the law, so you become a cop.
Also, the time my house got broken into when I was like a young teenager, when I lived in Rosendale, the police came and they were like, "Yeah, we probably won't find anything." Me like, why did we have to call you then?
That's a thing. Like,
why did we call you? Because all you did was put little fingerprint dust and take pictures so that the insurance company can have something to give.
And that's back. Bullshit on itself. The insurance. That's the whole reason. Like, that's half the calls that the police get. And like, why do we need somebody with a gun to come do that? Why can't you just have a regular mofo come see? Oh, look, the stuff is gone. Like, why do we need?
You know what? If I call 911 because my place got broken into, send the insurance company.
Like, at this point, like, they're not here still.
It's still
not
an
like
emergency.
they're holding me under.
I need them to come to.
It's not like they're holding me under gunpoint. Like, I don't need somebody with a weapon to come here and tell me, oh, I can't find it. But some of the people on Twitter, they had funnier stories. Like, bro, literally, they be like, one cop was like, oh, we can't find your phone because it's not an iPhone. And she was like, and then the girl was like, but like I can find her phone we're tracking it right now. We can see where it is. He's like, no, we can't find it because it's not an iPhone. He wrote it down on the fucking paper and left. Like, and let's not even talk about like the actual like serious like violent crimes that they just fucking ignore, make worse. Like they ignoring like restraining orders. They do that all the time, and people get killed. People get brutalized. Like, it's like we're paying these people so much money. We're funneling so much money.
We pay them
into the department, and they're not helping you.
Never forget, I pay you.
I just remembered this story. My place when I was living in Fort Hill got broken into.
Period.
My place in Fort Hill got broken into. I think it was an inside job from an old roommate that wasn't living there at the time.
Gonna break in. Jay gonna set up a break-in.
And the detective came. There was a detective that came to like get all the information from us. We all showed up a little later though. Like we had one roommate who showed up, and that's who called the cops. But the rest of us showed up a little later, and he was like giving us information, and then like right before he left, he said, "Oh yeah, also the neighbor who lives right next to you, he saw the person, so we have a description of the person." And I said, "Oh, why didn't you fucking lead with that?" And he was like, "Oh, I didn't think it was that important because it's been so long that we don't think we're gonna catch him. We have a description, so if there's another robbery, we know like this is the guy. But aside from that, like we can't do anything about it."
Like literally, they were like telling people, "Oh, look in pawn shops around the area," and then the people had to actually buy their stuff back, even though they know it was their stuff, can prove it was their stuff. Police know it was their stuff. It's clearly stolen.
Ineffective. So in conclusion, this city council meeting was basically trying to go over how a bunch of the questions city counselors asked were about like how are they not going to go over the budget and what are they going to do to like prevent yada yada. Basically things we've been talking about for the past year are the same questions they've been asking in this meeting.
I need steep defunding. I just want steep.
And then on to the next thing. So what else did I want to talk about right now that was funny?
I just want y'all to know, apparently, all the mayoral candidates are people of color.
Most. I think it's most.
The headline said all. Excuse me. It said all when I saw it. And if they changed it because it said all when I saw it. I sent it to you on Facebook.
Oh, okay. That's what it was. I was trying to remember.
And I'm just saying, like, Anissa, like...
it does say all. Oh, yeah, continue.
I'm just saying, like, Anissa, apparently there was some, like, beef because it says all on the cover, but apparently they didn't call Anissa a person of color in the, like, article, I guess. But, like, the thing is, or whatever, I'm not gonna begrudge her person of color but she's white anyway. But like you're not a marginalized person because of your race, Anissa. So it doesn't really matter, bro. Like you're bro, come on, like let's not play, bro. You're a white woman.
Yeah, I thought she married into I thought she married a person.
Her dad's Tunisian.
Yeah.
No, I mean like before you all told me that. I'm saying like when I first heard her name, I was like, oh yeah, she definitely. And I saw who she was, so she definitely married into.
I'm like, even your dad, bro. Like even him, he not really.
If you don't understand like the dynamics of the fact that every other of those candidates is actually. Like, the world sees them a specific way because they're all mainly Latino, Black, or an Asian.
And John Santiago kind of slipping, because I don't even, he's a little, but, you know, close enough. He's enough.
He be looking Italian.
He looks like a white Latino baby, but we'll allow it.
The jury allows it. We're the jury, guys. We're the judge, jury, and the executioner. Thank you.
No, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to be grudge. I'm not going to be,
sure,
but I'm not going to begrudge Alyssa, Anansi. I'm not going to begrudge Anansi her, you know, being a woman of color, if that's how she feels, wants to identify. But you're not a marginalized person because of your race, ma'am. And don't pretend that you are, because that's not, you know that. Anyway, you should know that. Oh yeah, other fun things about, you know, like POC. Nonprofit leadership in Boston is apparently becoming more diverse, which... I need a button that goes, yay! Which, I mean, that's cool and all, except that those people are not... Some of them have what some might call overseer mentality, in the sense that they're also racist.
Yeah. Like Uncle Tom syndrome.
Like... let's talk about. I'll link this article from WGBA. It's my favorite, you know. Mm-hmm. Actually, my favorite is.
I saw it and it made me laugh because I was like, it's because this is the issue that we always do. Like Kim Janey's a black mayor. Gross was a black man. Go on though. Oh my god. Gross was a black commissioner. It does not change the wrongs that they do. Like them being black doesn't mean they won't do wrongdoings. And the same thing goes for the nonprofits field. Like. Just because you put a black person, Latino, and Asian in the position of leadership does not mean the same issues that existed with the white person will
because
go away.
It's structural. This is what this is what the machine refuses to understand refuse to admit about racism, is that it's structural, and that you can put somebody in the face of whatever. You can put them in a position of power, but because of the way that these you know, these what are the fucking organizations and you know how this shit is structured, like you can't change it. Like you can't even change it from the top. Like in a sense, like you have to. Most of these things really like fundamentally started from white supremacy. Like there are certain things that started from the heads of one white motherfucker, and it's just what they think.
I mean,
and shit. So how can that ever be reformed? It's like it's just like.
Let's see. Let's look at this. There's a Boston Women's Fund, and then there's a Massachusetts Commission on the State of Women. Like, you have to acknowledge the fact that we have a bunch of nonprofits that basically effectively do the same thing.
What's King Boston?
There's just a bunch of nonprofits that do effectively the same thing, and that exists for a reason. Oh, because a bunch of mofos like to make money.
Oh yeah, I know the Boston Foundation's gonna have a black person for the first time since 2001.
It's just like
I don't okay. So what? Like these nonprofits, they still don't pay people. People are still overworked. You know,
That's why I picked it up, because I was like, this is such a. Like, they see it as such a great thing, but it's not a great thing if the nonprofit still maintains the same kind of, like, life culture, and they still do the same negative things that they always do to the community. Like, there's no purpose in having a black person there, like, and just as a symbol that we like black people.
And then sometimes we, like, listen, like, when we get these people in, they decide, like, oh yes, I'm from the community, so I know, and they stop listening to the people who are actually being affected. Like, you can say I'm from the community, but now you're the executive director or the whatever of an organization, so you're not the same as these people walking around and like you are in a position of privilege, in a position of power, and you have to recognize that you're not the same person you were when you were, you know, broke and whatever, making, you know, $300,000 a year.
Allison left a comment and said, not to mention that the nonprofit industrial complex exists to prop up white patriarchal. That word fucked me up. Patriarchal. My languages in both English and Spanish been fucked up. But patriarchal capitalism, and it's facts, because like I said, a ton of them that exist to do the same thing. How are you all doing studies on women in childcare? How are you all doing studies on gang violence?
Yes,
and
gang violence, right.
Like,
police,
how does that work, that you're all getting paid to do the same thing, coming to the same conclusion, and none of you having an effective solution?
Yeah, and nothing is getting done. Like,
how does that work?
We just throw. This is the same thing we do with the police. Same thing we do with, like, when we talk about, you know, for instance, Franklin Park. We just want to throw, you know, be like, oh, give some of these people some money, and not the people who need it. Just some, I don't know, like, it's like, I don't know. The motto of Boston should be like an outside group of, you know, what do they call them? Outside think tank, because, you know, is here. That is something like that, because that's all they do with money. That's the only thing they're willing to fund is hypothetical. They're never willing to fund anything that's actually gonna do anything. Like,
very theoretical, beautiful. Bitches.
It's beautiful. Like, you could sit here and watch a BU study for fucking 7 years, and what has gotten done. They're like, oh, but these outcomes have been so great. How? Like, how? When this kid that was working, that was in your program, when this kid that was in your program is homeless, and this kid that was in your program is in jail, and this kid, like, and one kid went to college, and one kid got a good job, and, like, it's like, come on, like,
one success story for every, like, 500 people you touch is not a success story.
And they're like, oh, well. And then it's like the feeling is like, oh, well, no one else was gonna help them, so at least we tried. No, but you didn't try enough. You didn't try. You didn't, like, from being a person who's, like, worked in nonprofits, like, as a young person too, like, people like me and Alejandra we were always gonna be what we are right now. It was never gonna be anything but that, because people always believed in us. We are already going to one of the better high schools in the city. Most prestigious. We were everybody already expected us to do whatever. Other people, if you're not the favorite in some youth job you're in, then you're fucked. No, you're not getting extra hours, you're not getting opportunities, you're not getting one-on-one fucking support. Like, nigga, I don't want to talk to these niggas one-on-one, so I didn't give a fuck. Like, that I didn't, like, and they always gave me extra hours because I was the best person, you know, I would be the best person working in these places. But, like, if you're not somebody's favorite, like, you're screwed, bro. Like, and this is, and to be somebody's favorite, you have to be the tragic little black kid. Oh, like my life is just Negro. So hard. Like, can't do anything. Like, and so some young white can come coddle you and do your work for you and just fucking, like, act like they can shield you from racism for the rest of your life. Then you're going out into the workforce, like, fucked. Fucked. And then they want to get mad at people like me talking about, hey, listen, straight up, like, you can come to me and talk about all this shit, the feelings and shit, but, like, my nigga, it's not gonna work anywhere else, bro. It's never gonna work anywhere else, and that's not me being an asshole saying that's the way it should be, but that's the way it is, and you're putting people in danger when you don't tell them that. You're putting people in danger when you got young black kids thinking that the world's just gonna be like, okay.
Man, the number of people I see, especially because I'm in, like, a lot of career, like, Twitter things and, like, Twitter spheres and, like, groups on Facebook, is that so many people face so much trouble when they get into working corporate or, like, just regular jobs, because they but they hope that their work environment will be one that, like, will treat them well and, like, sometimes will acknowledge the issues that they face, especially as Black people. No, they won't. They don't care. And having to deal with that is very hard for people, because for some people you were really expecting there to be a change in the system, the change in the way they're treated, and then you show up and guess what? Racism's still there, microaggression's still there, and your job don't care.
And then sorry, gotta go on a quick nonprofit rant still again more. Like, the other thing is that sometimes not only does that favoritism stuff come at the expense of like other people getting like opportunities, sometimes it comes at the expense of like their safety and well-being. When some people are coddling grown men who are youths, but they're 20 years old and they're possibly like raping, a 14-year-old because it was consensual, but the nigga's 20 years old and she's 14, and it's really important that this person be here for this thing. Like, what? Like, we're sitting here ignoring red flag after red flag after red flag, and this person is a fucking predator. Like, niggas, bruh, you bet niggas found that out way later. You bet niggas found that out way after they was gone from that position. Cause, boy, if I would have known then. Anyway, so I just want to say, like, the leadership change, it's not enough. It means nothing. The whole fucking shit is just is rotten to the core, and it's poisonous. And ask anybody who's worked there for a long time, anyone who's not still working there, because they be fucking liars. They be lying. Some people will tell you the truth why they're still working there. But if they're still working there, say no, but it's better, it's good, it's not. They're lying. There's nowhere. So, like, that's it. Anyway, next, Franklin Park.
Oh God, guys.
Okay, listen. I didn't even read the headline. I'm gonna be honest with you, because
let me get it.
I just knew I was gonna read the article, so like reading the headline just doesn't matter to me. But that article, written by Marcela Garcia, who did not choose the headline. She's just a columnist, an opinion columnist for the Globe.
And I guess we'll start by saying this. If you didn't know, we were interviewed by Marcela a few days ago after our episode about bike life, which is our last episode, episode 37, because we talked about it, and she reached out to us because obviously we're members of the community, and so she wanted to talk to us about it. I would recommend reading it. It's a pretty good article. So people were freaking out over the headline, which was the Boston. It's been changed, I think. Yeah. Before, I think it used to say the Black and Brown Bostonians behind noise at Franklin Park or something like that. And obviously, like, if you just read that title alone, that's obviously very, like, jarring. Like, what do you mean the Black and, like, brown people behind the noise? And, when I first read it, I didn't take it that way. Because my brain wasn't, because I knew what the article was. Because,
we were in the article, we were reading the article, so we didn't.
My brain wasn't
Our brain wasn't there.
But something that we do want to point out is the fact that, like, journalists, the, like, amount of, like, choice they get to have when it comes to selecting the title of their articles is very, like, low. Like, of course you could say, no, you can't publish it like this, but, like, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Marcela's a Mexican-American. Like, I don't really believe that a person, like, a Latina like that really has a choice of being able to say no. It's right. Like, I'm sorry, that's the way the systems currently are. Where, like, do you really think, like, do I really think she has options?
Does she have enough leverage to be like, oh no, change the title, right. And they'll still be like, oh, we must publish this article that they didn't even want to publish in the first place because no one wanted to talk to the Black Bostonians behind the noise at Franklin Park except for Marcela. Like, she was the only person that went out there and actually talked to the fucking people riding the bikes and playing the music. Amazing. Who would have thunk that maybe if you talk to the people doing the thing that's bothering you, they might have a reason, maybe, because they're people.
Wow.
Like,
amazing, right? I hope people did read it because we brought up some good points. And I'm going to go into talking about, so I'm in a High Park Neighbors group. It's always a mistake to be in it. Every day I consider leaving. But they entertain me from time to time. So this article has been posted like 3 times or twice in the group. And each time a bunch of mainly white people, and they'll be, you have your POCs that go, I'm brown and I don't think this should be done. Shut the hell up. Anywho, so brown. They were in a frenzy over it. The one person that posted it was like, I'm glad that I read it because I had never considered those aspects of it. And I said, that's good that you had never you never thought about it and now you learned something. But most people's reaction automatically, and I think it's still like a headline thing, they'll just go, oh, it's those kids on the damn bikes. We need to stop them. We need to end it. It's the worst thing on earth. And they're just like not too reactionary to the fact that it's still going to happen. It's been happening for years. Maybe you ignored it. Maybe because there's so many now.
Maybe because you're gentrifying our neighborhood and you didn't live here before.
Maybe because you want the neighborhood to be gentrified low-key so that your property value can go up so you can sell your property.
Yeah, they mad niggas is running through Hyde Park in their bikes. Sorry. What a better place. Hyde Park they got little forests.
It's some like wide open. Like, it's safer than being on American Legion. Like, the hell?
It's just very funny to see the reactions because people are really... It was funny to see the reaction of, like, Black Bostonians on Twitter that know about bike life and bike culture that were, like... that were mad over the headline because, like, what the fuck? We're not... Like, Behind the Noise is obviously very kind of, like, racist.
Yeah.
But...
Definitely dog whistling. The newspapers love to do that shit. Local newspapers love racism.
It got them clicks. The only unfortunate part is that people were calling Marcella racist, and I don't know if she was a racist. From the conversation I had with her so far, I don't think racist. Pero, never know.
Also, I think somebody who wants to shed light on the fact that this is not really that bad of a thing. I gotta say, I don't think, like, if you're racist and you're trying to do that, then you must really fucking love dirt biking.
Right, like, I don't know. Like, it was funny.
If you're like fucking
we talk about
niggas,
hookah and stuff, like, she was trying to understand. She was like, I learned so much. Like, honestly, sorry to expose her, make it hot, but she was just talking about how she learned so much about Dominican culture, about, like, bike life, about Black American, and about all that stuff, like, how it comes together and all that stuff. And how like it was just a subculture that she never knew existed, and
cough white people, you never knew it existed until you find out.
And also how she learned mad like slang because like both speaking Spanish, but you're like, bruh, like
Dominican Spanish is something different.
It's something else.
It's something
anyway. But also real quick, can we talk about the damn zoo? I just want to say, like, I just think that maybe the animals don't want to mate for like the similar reasons to like why I wouldn't have wanted to mate had I been stolen from my homeland. I don't know about the animals specifically, but they might have been put on boats similarly to some people, and then they were put in cages, put on display, made to do little pretty tricks for everybody, and watched constantly,
I mean, next thing you know, they're gonna have giraffes picking motherfucking cotton.
So I'm just saying, and you know where they came from? Africa. Oh, interesting. I just think me and the zoo animals kind of got to understand it because that lion has sounded sad my whole life.
That's why I want to introduce this new book I just got from Dr. Umar Johnson. It's called Snow Bunny Therapy, Snow Bunny Crisis Therapy for Black male beta coons.
Yes. Important. Necessary. Anyway, but I'm saying, but like honestly, like I don't want the animals to be like in distress, but I also feel like being like it's literally a whole different climate. Like this is a different time zone. The sun go down at a different time. Like, bro, I wouldn't want to mate either, bro. Like how many generations are they in? Are these like new animals?
I was gonna say like some of them just been born in captivity. Sometimes that's even worse.
That's what I'm about to say.
Cage?
That's what I'm about to say. Like, what would you want to mate? Would you want to bring more kids into this?
Allison put a comment that said it's a fact that at least 80% of zoo animals are antidepressants. I think I knew this before. I saw your comment today about this today as well, but I knew this before because I have watched different things, especially about like dolphins, because dolphins get very depressed.
As they should, rapey ass motherfuckers.
No, dolphins are
Don't
very
keep them
nice.
in captivity.
They be raping everything and everyone in sight.
Shut up.
Leave them alone.
So I learned this, and it was just like, why do we continue to keep? We're like, we do this for the preservation of their like species meat.
No. You know what will preserve their species? Stop destroying the planet. That's all you had to do. Like, this is the fun thing. They be like, but
leave them the fuck alone.
I just saw a post actually that really highlighted how I feel about this. It was talking about like why even like white vegans still act really weird about animals. Person said, very cold take, but the reason I think a lot of settler vegans view meat as murder and therefore immoral is because they cannot get past their colonial mindset of viewing all interactions as either consumption or domination instead of the reality of a vast web of mutually beneficial and self-sustaining relationships with the ecosystem and each other. And then another person went on to talk about like Christianity and how if you know you use imperial Christian mindset, God said, you know, man has dominion over all the animals and da 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 da. And so they can't reconcile that, like, things can eat things, bro. They think they're gonna teach nature how to be humane.
Jordan called dolphins the booty warriors of the
Terrible.
aquarium.
Terrible.
Both of you are horrible.
Horrible.
I love it.
And Allison mentioned Manifest Destiny, which is facts.
Yeah.
Like, people just think they own everything. Oh, I especially see this with the Inuit people.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are on TikTok, which I love because I love learning about indigenous cultures. It's very nice because you don't really get to hear from them themselves, because white people
From
love to
their
talk
mouth
about indigenous people, but not have indigenous people.
Not from somebody else's mouth.
But they talk a lot about how, like, they'll eat a whale still, because obviously it's one of the, and seal, because those are the things they've been eating for centuries. And people on TikTok, all the comments will be like, "You're murderers! How dare you? You're the reason they're going extinct." And I'm like, and not the massive amounts of fishing,
and just destroying the
oil
right.
spill. And
My thing is, I don't like. I think a lot of these people need to admit that they don't think that people of color deserve to live.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you know about something called the permafrost. But, like, you know, there's, like, a certain time of year in the area where Inuit people, like, live where it's, like, frozen. And you really can't dig further than, like, just a little bit. So, like, there's a couple little shrubs and you can eat that. But, like, that's about it. And, like, I don't know anybody else has seen, but I've seen, like, a lot of things from, like, for instance, the Anchorage grocery store where they have strawberries and them motherfuckers be, like, $26.99. And I don't know how much food you think a family needs, but I know that if I can't even just have like one thing, like $26 can get me food, like that could feed a family for at least a day. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what y'all are talking about, bro, but you want people to starve, like you like, because they don't overfish. They use what they need. They take what they need and they use every bit of it. Like white people are so convinced that nobody knew how to do this stuff sustainably because they refuse to. Like,
and they've been doing it for so long that they probably have a big part in like how the like circle of life there is like the ecosystem there. Like if they've been hunting whale for fucking hundreds of years, you would think that like maybe the whales like overpopulate so that they don't, you know, to compensate for that shit, or it helps somehow. I don't know. Fucking hunting is supposed to like help the ecosystem, like low key.
It does if you do it right.
If you do it
which
right.
is why like when people go hunting in Africa, it don't make sense because that's not what you're supposed to do unless you're like a native like tribe actually hunting for just their meal and not for fun.
Yeah.
But them animals, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really care about them. Because Zoo shouldn't exist, and that's.
And I'm taking my little brother to one for his birthday.
And it shouldn't exist, and you shouldn't go. It's anti-black.
But I it's funny. I was gonna say earlier that I like in like
Zoo is a right
like white evangelical vegans to the albino dude who whips himself in
Da Vinci
in
Code.
Da Vinci Code.
No, don't remind me of that. I
hate
hated
to be
reading.
reminded that it triggered. Yeah, I read
Read
that
it.
too.
I watched it.
Evil.
I read
I
it
am
and watched
evil.
it.
I am evil.
Anyway, we've been on this for so long. We've been in local news for mad long. Kim Janey is like, yo, what if Long Island come back? Maybe.
Yeah, she's floating. I didn't like that irony in the headline. She's floating the idea of fairies. Me die.
Where's Long Island?
Long Island.
It's
is,
just a little island,
yeah.
like the Harbor Islands, basically.
Yeah.
It's like off Quincy, which is.
And she wants to like make it a place for people to
Well, this has been
this
has been an issue for a couple years. So it used to be like a shelter
Yeah.
where like a lot
Drug
of the people that
treatment
people
center.
could that are on Mass Ave used to get treatment.
Mm.
It's since been closed because they said
the bridge was unsafe.
Yeah, they said people's gonna die.
Mm.
You can't get across this safely.
Mm.
So now she's considering this idea of a ferry, which has been brought up, I swear, like 2 years ago or a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And these are like old ideas, nothing new. I don't quite understand why she even talked about it because this ferry idea is still like. The issue with the ferry idea is if somebody is overdosing,
Right.
you need
it's
to be
too
able to
slow.
get them from the island back inland
Right.
quickly because
Right.
there's not they'll have like little field hospitals, but they won't have a hospital.
Right.
So the point is you should be able to get them out of the island quickly and back inland.
Mm.
But a ferry can't do that, and the other option would just constantly be having a helicopter,
Helicopters.
which
and
is
it would cost
expensive.
so much money because people would overdose like a lot because it's a drug treatment center. And this is what happens every single time people talk about Long Island. That's why I'm like I think it's such a waste of time. That's why I feel like, especially when residents do it, I'm like can I need a politician to just say Long Island's never happening. I don't even if it happens in 5 years, I just need you to tell them that it's never happening because it's not going to happen in a time frame where we need stuff to happen. We don't have time for this. Like we
need temporary solutions for now and then long-term solutions. We only talk about these long-term solutions, but Long Island's been closed at this point almost 5 years or something like that or longer. Like
Right.
It's going to approach 10 years within like a few years. 10 years of it being closed and instead of having a solution on what was going to happen, we've just crowded all of our resources into one area, which is mainly just the South End and Roxbury, and we were like, okay, cool. And then what else? That's it. Like, it's just, it's mind-blowing because they keep floating these ideas instead of floating solutions. You can't keep floating ideas when when legitimately somebody Yahida today posted pictures of like feces on her mom's
it's literally every day
like these are things that happen every day, so we need solutions that are going to start working today. It's not in 5 years we'll have this bridge built, in 5 years we'll have this fully fixed, because there's also the issue of not only was the bridge fucked up, but whatever's on the island, those buildings are also aging.
Yeah, they're like old.
And without people actually having been there for the past couple of years, guess what happens to a building that doesn't actually get worked on?
And I also said it's been longer. I feel like it's been like what, since like 2013.
That's what I thought, but I didn't want to.
I'm not positive.
Forgot about like.
Because I feel like it was right after Marty.
Yes, I feel like it was right after he
I love how people forgot about Santiago's trip to Charlie Baker's house and like Domingos is like yelling at Charlie Baker's wife.
2014. Yep.
So
what, that like 6-7 years?
7 years. Wow.
Whew, that's damn near 10
heading to
years.
10. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's 2014. Marty Walsh took office. What, 2013?
And that's about when the heroin epidemic was like ramping up.
Oh, and with that, also, there was a statistic released about how this year, the opioid crisis has taken 5% more lives, 5% more overdoses. So there was an increase, 5% increase in overdose deaths. Yes, I was correct. In 2020, and amongst the highest of fatalities was Black men
in Massachusetts.
Yes, so cool, because
that's listen, it's serious out here, man. Like this is why.
Look,
Serious.
how many episodes are me and Malaysia just gonna have to tell you how important this issue is?
Like,
and how we need
it's hard. It's hard. It makes me feel like sometimes we like, oh, like we talk about this every time, but it's the same thing every week. Like what new can I say except like you have to do something. Like they're not even. We haven't got to the starting point of actually doing anything except come and fuck people up by the police. Like that's the only
their
step they've
solutions
taken
so far. Just like we'll send out the advocacy people and like some of the recovery people once in a while. They'll go out there. But I'm like, they don't even have enough people. Like, there are so many people out there on a day-to-day basis. People can't, like, you can't just have one person come to you within, like, 2 weeks. I need constantly you coming up to people like, daily. I need you daily coming up to people like, are you trying to get clean today? Like, what resources do you need? Do you need help getting a home? Do you need this?
And they're really, like, they've really ignored it for years. Like, just let people standing on Mass Ave like it's cool. And it's, like...
It's affecting their lives. It's affecting our lives.
You know
like,
how wild it would be for Boston to open up a fuck ton of jobs just specifically for this.
Man, take some of that police money. Make some of the police officers just that. That's your job now. You gotta
no
be on
more
that
gun.
side.
Sorry.
No more gun. You just gotta. You can still be a cop in name, but you're gonna be out there every day just helping people get clean or get whatever they want, because some people just don't want to be clean. That's their choice. That's their business. It's helping people make sure they're healthy.
They're not dying on the street. Like, we need people to not be dying on the street. We need the clean community. We are
also not encroaching on, like, needles and poop.
Facts.
And everything else.
We need a clean community in the sense that the environment needs to be clean.
If Kim Janey did anything remotely close to, like, creating a system in which to do that, to, like, create jobs for that, she'd probably go down as, like, the best mayor.
Unfortunately, she cannot, because she doesn't have much she can do as acting mayor.
Yeah, not right now.
Yeah. That's an issue when we criticize Kim Janey. It's with respect of her abilities are quite limited, but she still has ability.
She was also city councilor and city council president, to be clear. So it's not like she was nothing. She had pushing. And let's be clear, whose district is the South End in? It was Kim Janey's district. Like, not gonna lie, she dropped the ball. She was quite repeatedly. So
it is what it is. But whatever.
Our last local piece of news is about local Native American groups seeking action on unsolved murders and disappearances of Indigenous girls and women. There was an event in JP that was held to bring light to the issue, and that's like, we've mentioned it before. It's like a huge issue. It's one of the they have some of the highest rates of like disappearance and unsolved, especially. And yeah, everywhere in the country, like,
it's a massive issue, especially like was it last year or 2 years ago when that young girl disappeared, that Cape Verdean Indigenous girl, I can't remember where she was. But she disappeared and she was killed, and it's a very common thing.
They just talk about her.
Oh wow! I didn't even read the whole article. That's the funny part.
I still don't know how to say it. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Damn, I'm sorry.
Where is it?
Mid-center.
It's right here.
Yeah. Jalagia.
Okay, Jalagia Finkley.
A+.
I love that.
But she was murdered last year.
My people.
So this is an issue that's like very close to like home, because it happens all the time,
repeatedly,
and because we think of Indigenous people as living on their own for some reason. We know why, white supremacy. We don't pay attention to the fact that they're disappearing, that they're dying, that they're just gone, and nobody knows why. And then sometimes when they die, there's never a reason for it. There's never an explanation for it. And one of the mothers there was talking about their daughter.
There was also Nanette Olson, who died under mysterious circumstances. I remember her in South Boston in 2018, and they feel like police department, and her mother Jane was talking about how police departments don't pay attention, or they feel like police. No one would talk. She said no one would talk to her. And she felt like it's because they're Micmac.
That's fair. That's fair. It's something that's why I think I make a point of always pointing this stuff out because people forget it so often. People forget that Native Americans, I really don't like indigenous people. They're not a lot of them in this country, but they still have the highest rates of like addiction, murders, and like disappearances, diabetes. A lot of them, if they live on reservations, often deal with issues of like water insecurity, food like insecurity,
internet, power, like you know, we talk about a lot of things as like if they're like the super past, like the distant past. We don't recognize that there are people in the United States of the United States,
the United States and the United States,
that don't have power, don't have. We know people don't have clean water, you know, and all that. Like, we have to, like, yeah, and ain't no savior to save us.
Period.
Anyway, well, on to like anyway, we need to find these. We need to find these missing people. We need to investigate people's murders. Black and brown and indigenous women.
You know what this reminds me of? There was an episode of 911 that hit my soul because it was on a topic like this where a mother was trying to beat up her daughter's ex-boyfriend because she was like, you were the last person they saw her with. So tell me where my daughter is. And it wasn't and it was only because Angela Bassett in the show is a cop, ACAB, but she's a cop, so she recognized that this was an issue, and only then, after having another black woman recognize that this was actually, like, her daughter was for real missing and not just wandering, like they like to say people wander.
They'd be like, oh, maybe they ran away.
That they were able to find her. And I was like, this is something that happens a lot for black and brown women and indigenous people. They will just say you wandered away.
Yeah, that you ran away. Like, I'm telling you, they didn't run away. I'm telling you, they didn't run away. Like, look for them, you know. But
anywho, so
let's jump to national news.
Okay, very exciting story. My favorite story of the week: the Coastal Pipeline. It's not my favorite story of the week. I'm lying, but it is a fun one. The Coastal Pipeline, which is a pipeline that brings gas from Texas all the way to like. You should eat it. Make it a mukbang.
I'm hungry, guys.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'll talk. You got it. Coastal Pipeline, it bring gas from Texas all the way to like New Jersey, was shut down after some ransomware attack. They're saying it's a Russian group, but they like to say Russians do everything because I don't know why.
It's fun. It's easy, you know. It's easy to be like, yeah, well, Russians did it.
But this pipeline delivers approximately like 45% of the fuel for the East Coast, which is why this thing was like a big deal and why people started like freaking out and getting gas. And they were like, yo, no gas, we gotta run, which I didn't notice the day that I guess that happened, or like the right day after. I went to Costco to get gas and the gas thing was full, and I was like, what the hell's wrong with people? This thing is never full like this. I get gas here all the time. Why is it full? Pipeline, people freak out. It was more of a thing in the South, and still is more of a thing in the South, where like South Carolina, Florida, and Georgia were all kind of extremely worried about it because 45% of your gas could disappear or not come. So people were freaking out, and you know, that's the thing when people freak out is that you had a bunch of people buying gallons upon like tons of gasoline and putting it in plastic bags. I don't know what that was. Bags. Gas doesn't belong in bags. Gas can burn through bags.
Or people stacking sideways gas canisters.
But people are gonna
in their truck,
explode their whole house.
You know, gas expires. I know you watch a lot of movies, and like in 50 years in the apocalypse, they can still drive the cars, but gas expires, bro. It expires really quickly too. Like, it expires in like 3 months, bro. Sorry.
And also about gas is that people, I don't know if I talked about it. We might have talked about it a few weeks ago, but I'll bring it up again. People have been complaining a lot about the price of gas and how it's been going up a lot, and it's very expensive compared to last week. But last year. But the reason why is because last year nobody was driving. And that drove the cost down because nobody was driving. There was no real purpose of using as much gas.
Yeah, y'all remember 2019? The gas was high as fuck.
Mm-hmm. So, it's 2021 now. Pandemic's over, according to, people. And
I forgot to put the article about this.
Yeah, I was like, I went to look for it and I forgot. But so the pandemic's over according to people, and everybody's back on the streets, which means You have to produce more gas, and I don't know if people know this, but gas is one of those markets that's very much just people making up shit. People make up how much they want to charge you. They want to say, it's a bunch of like
to purchase a crude oil by the barrel is $20 a
no,
barrel.
they just making shit up. They're like, Russians are charging this much, Venezuelans are charging this much, the Saudis are charging this, and they play around with
They
that.
said they asked dinosaurs.
Did you ask the Earth how much you're selling its blood for, bro?
So
I don't think so.
Just so people know, that's why gas is kind of expensive.
Because when I donate plasma, they only give me like $30 for the whole bag. Now I wish my shit was oil, because I get like $30 a gallon. You know what I'm saying? I can give all my plasma out. You know what I mean?
I'm wondering about gallons. Anyway, yeah, so that was fun. The next thing on this list, we might as well, because none of these things are connected. The next thing I had on the list was about Montgomery County in what's that place, Maryland. So the Montgomery County school system, they got there's about like $30,000 or something in unpaid lunch debts. 6 schools have more than $10,000 in meal debts.
Oh, okay.
So there's roughly, way more.
Yeah.
There's roughly 16,000 students owing $365,826. That was in January 2020. To their school for fucking lunch debt for food.
That's effectively $1,000 like a day.
So basically,
for a year.
The reason I'm telling you this isn't actually about that per se. It's about the fact that they're considering serving alternate meals for students who have lunch debt. That means giving them a nasty ass nothing sandwich instead of hot food, which is already not enough. No, and these are elementary schools, some of them.
You can't do this to me. I'm poor. I ain't got no food at home. How you gonna make me have less food?
Yeah, no, like I watched.
How'd that work?
This article is from May 5th, and I watched the Young Turks talk about it, and Jank was like, oh, but it's not that. At least they're still getting food. Like back in my day, they didn't get any food. I'm like, that was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And also like I remember, back at like the Renaissance, they used to. Like, even if they just, like, ran out of food, like, if you have money and they ran out of food, you get, like, a nasty-ass sun butter sandwich. Yeah. That shit looked like shit. Yeah. It looked like shit on a piece of bread. It had, like, the thinnest layer of jelly on the other side. Yeah. Niggas didn't even, like, me personally, me being niggas, didn't even like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Yeah. So, if I ever got there too late to get food, I was fucking screwed.
Yeah.
And that's not even because I didn't have lunch money. So, yeah. And I just think, like, how do we sit here and act like we're the best country in the world and we just can't even give kids lunch? That's all.
It's wild.
Lunch, breakfast, lunch. That's all you need.
It kind of goes beyond that, too. Like, if you look at it right now, like, there's a lot of legislation that's being passed that's effectively, like, ruining, not ruining, but, like, I mean, like, yeah, like, ruining, like, schools that are predominantly black or like don't have the money don't have the resources, like these kids who are in debt. It's like there are schools that are passing legislation that's like, if you teach about racism, you're not going to get we're pulling funding from you from schools that are already like less funded.
Right.
There's like it's weird how all of not weird, but it's just like wild how all is all kind of happening at once. Like, everybody's, like, effectively just saying, like, fuck them kids.
Allison said some rich dude needs to just pay for all that, which is yes, because that's not even a lot of money.
Like the yogurt dude that paid for Rhode Island.
Yeah, he could come back, that dude who always talks about being an ethical billionaire on CNBC. He could pay
to go away.
He's so annoying. Oh my gosh, he's so annoying.
Every tweet he wants to remind me he pays his employees a living wage. Shut the hell up.
He's so annoying. Can you pay for the damn Montgomery County school debt?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for paying your employees a living wage. Thanks.
You know that actually makes your business better. Like, it makes you have better business outcomes when you pay your employees a living wage for a lot of reasons. And that's just like, if you think rationally, you would recognize that anyway.
I will say, the update was the school board has pulled the proposal because they knew they were fucking up.
Yeah,
yes,
so,
Allison said ethical billionaire equals right.
Right.
It's facts. That's the
right,
best part.
exactly, right.
I'm a millionaire, but I only pay myself $70,000 a year. Okay.
Right.
Congratulations.
The second I start making $1 million, I don't give a fuck about ethics, bro. Just keep giving me my money.
See, that's the problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people don't need to make that much money. You're the clearest example right here. But also, can we quick again? Like, let's talk about the fact that school lunches are not even enough food to begin with. Mm-hmm. Imagine they take away your 4 nuggets to give you a nothing sandwich.
And like thinking about it now, how many of us had like allergies and didn't know it? Like the food they give you is like allergy central, like allergy or like intolerance central.
Right,
like they were stuff. I was talking to Ista about this, but like they were stuffing you with milk. A lot of us cannot process milk. That's why half of us
all
have
these
bubble
black
gut.
children cannot process this damn milk.
You want
to eat milk and cheeseburgers and shit and
Milk,
chicken nuggets
and
broccoli.
You see bears drinking raccoon milk.
And rotten fruits.
It don't make no
Yeah,
fucking
those fruits
sense.
always be rotten. Yo, remember when the turkey used to look like Freddy Krueger, bro? Just holes, bro. Just holes all in it.
I only really had the chicken nuggets and the pizza. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yo, BLA food the first year, delicious. Oh, fire. They gave you enough. The shit was bomb. And then they were like, oh, health. Okay, why does health mean you reduce the amount of food you give me? Nasty, and you don't even give me enough. Like, I'm like, why are you gonna take away my fish fillet? Like, is that not healthy enough? Can I have my fish? They used to give us baked fish on like they started giving us baked fish on some bread, just raw baked, no fucking breading on the fish, baked fish with like maybe butter, no salt. And
remember the
supposed to
peas
eat
they
that.
used to sell? They used to give us at the Renaissance. The like discolored peas.
I remember the Renaissance I had some of my worst lunch experiences at the Renaissance. Same. I got one time. You know why I never drank chocolate milk again after the 5th grade or the 6th grade? Cause one time I got a chocolate milk that was as thick as yogurt, and it ruined my life. I never drank another carton of chocolate milk like that again.
I hated milk, so every time I saw milk at school, I was like, "Where's the water?" And I hated water for a very long time in my life. So me wanting water was.
I love water, and I wish they would offer that. I remember one time the cafeteria ladies threw away our food, and I was like, what, 4th grade or something, and because we got down there late, I think, and then we went up and told the teacher the ladies threw away our stuff while we were still eating, and she was like, oh my gosh, she was about to order us pizza, and then the security guards convinced her that we were probably lying, so they just brought us up like the gross pizza from the cafeteria, and it was like the thinnest slice possible. And I'm sitting here like, y'all are evil, like y'all the devil.
Yeah, it was probably some. Was the security guard white?
No, I think it was freaking. I know. I feel.
Was it a Dabinga?
No, it was. Oh, maybe.
Was it Simba?
No. It was, what was that man? It might have been him. I think his name was Marcus. I think it was him.
Anywho.
The one with the locks.
So,
yeah.
Anywho, freaking Bostonians talking about Renaissance.
I remember him.
So menthols and backwoods finna be gone.
Oh no, not my backwoods.
Question.
Not
Question
my,
for y'all.
I was gonna call them Swiss Miss. What them?
Swisher Sweets.
Swisher Sweets.
Alejandra. If Alejandra grew up in that time, Alejandra would be smoking some Swisher Sweets. I'd be on the fucking Dutch Masters be looking at her mad judgmental, like, you really smoking some fucking Swishers, ho? Like, that's dead ass how it would be if we were in the proper era.
I got a question for y'all. Game show question. Y'all ready?
Yes.
Why do black people like menthol cigarettes?
Nobody knows.
Why?
Do you know?
I don't need today. Kay and I asked you what the difference between the menthol cigarette was and a regular cigarette.
I'll tell you the difference. A regular cigarette is death, and a menthol cigarette is less death.
Correct. Nobody knows. Also, menthol cigarettes have fiberglass in them that open up they cut your throat open so that the menthol part can go side.
So do people smoke regular cigarettes or do people mainly smoke menthol cigarettes?
Well, it depends. It depends on if you like black people like menthols because nobody want to be killing themselves unless you're old. You don't want to be tasting that because it's like you think about how bad a Newport smells, and then a regular non-menthol cigarette is like murder, death. Like it's that tar shit. Like the thing about menthols is that they have a better taste, which they still taste nasty, but the taste is I guess enough to make it better, more appealing than smoking a regular cigarette.
In college, I picked up smoking for a very short amount of time. I'm not proud, but
shame.
There were very little menthols and a lot of racist jokes about them, because white people don't smoke menthols like that.
Because, like, cigarettes are really gross. Like, gross. But backwards, oh my god.
Yes, so menthols and backwoods, they're coming for them. They're trying to ban them, which isn't, me.
They better not touch my game,
But does banning anything work?
You can ban, I'm sorry. I'm the worst because you should def ban backwards because backwards are nasty. and flavored tobacco, Yo,
Yes,
if you
flavored
rolling a
tobacco.
blunt flavored tobacco,
Flavor.
I don't know
It's
about
a little
you.
judgment.
There's a little bit.
If you pulling out,
You better go get a
You're
leaf,
pulling out
bro.
some like flavored, like some French vanilla flavored something. You're
That's
nasty.
gross.
You're grody, bro.
Anyway,
Me,
Grody.
I'm anti-cigarettes. I think cigarettes the worst thing ever be introduced to people because
especially in Boston, because y'all like to be up at. Oh my god, it was so.
You
You
had
know,
a
to be
cigarette?
honest,
No.
like they already banned menthols in here in
Mhm.
Massachusetts. I mean, life has been hard since for a lot of people, and I'm like, I just don't want to when like this Corona is over. I don't want to go back to the world and people are now smoking regular cigarettes.
Ugh.
That sounds terrible because those people are like getting them shipped from like New Hampshire and stuff.
Oh, it's back.
Imagine you go back to the world and people are like now like you're standing in Dudley and people are smoking like actual gross cigarettes.
I'd be mad. I ain't gonna hold you.
Anyway,
Smoking American spirits.
yo, like
Do you imagine seeing nothing but a bunch of like Dudley heads walking around smoking like loose tobacco, like a
dude,
bunch of-
what about camels? The camels are regular,
I
right?
once
Camels
saw
are
somebody
alright.
from BLA talking about smoking. What's the spirits? What's that?
American
American spirits, and I said, "What?"
Camel lights are alright. Camel crushes are alright.
I don't want to hear about the.
But tell me about Miss Warren and Mr. Sanders.
So they was talking about expanding food aid to college students. So and basically like making sure that people like their advisors and their people that like whatchamma fucking call it that like do their paperwork stuff like tell them that they might be eligible for SNAP and
it's facts.
yeah.
It's something. When I went to UMassel, that was something that was talked about at one point. I can't remember when, but because the large part of UMassel schools commuters, a lot of them face like food insecurity and also housing insecurity because college is fucking expensive no matter how poor you are.
Right.
Like no matter how much money they give you, you'll still be poor in college. And that was something like that was mentioned about like how they had programs or whatever. But this is really good because
yeah,
if it exists, they need to make use of it. Like imagine having like in college having like an extra like $50 a month
right
just by like
for food. That would have been great, especially because people who have to work jobs,
Oh
you
my
know
God.
you're never getting there. The thing is closed by the time you get back.
You
to
could have
campus or
some. Just
whatever.
go to the grocery store real quick.
That'd be
Go
so
to
nice.
Walgreens, pick up a snack sometimes. Because your schools don't be having food.
Right. Also, so this was like part of the relief package in December. They made students who were eligible for work study or had an expected family contribution of 0 or qualify for the maximum Pell Grant on their FAFSA would be eligible for SNAP. And so Liz and the burner are trying to make it permanent.
Like a permanent thing?
Yeah.
It makes sense to have it a permanent. I mean,
they want the kids to eat. Like I
Yeah.
said, they don't want the kids to starve.
it's a very straightforward
I said
concept.
Bernie and Liz want the kids to live.
It's quite hilarious at the number of things that have like come through with the pandemic that I'm just like, yeah, we can keep them. Guys, we can keep this. Like, well, we'll go to the next topic. Biden is threatening people to go back to work or lose unemployment benefits. And this is a quote from, like, a little press conference he gave. I think it was today or yesterday. Anybody collecting unemployment who is offered a suitable job must take the job or lose their unemployment benefits. Now, the biggest issue with this is...
What do you mean suitable?
Yes. That's what
Am I getting paid enough to live? It's unsuitable if I'm not getting paid enough to live, ho.
Because the people we see the most not returning to their jobs are people at our typical low-level jobs, which are like working at Chipotle or working at like any fast food places. Those are the people that are truly not returning to their jobs because they're making more off unemployment. Which Republicans stop thinking that means they're lazy. No, it means you should have been paying them more so they'd have an incentive to actually go back to work. Because what incentive do I have to go if I'm gonna lose money?
Do you see how scared though? Do you see how well a general strike would work though, guys? Like, do you see how scared they get the moment that people even like sort of hint at maybe they deserve something better than like slavery? They're like, oh, you gotta go get the $7.25 if that's all you need.
They get told. I think Chick-fil-A, because of this and how like widespread their issue was with staffing, they're now saying they're bringing up their minimum wage to like, for a lot of places, they're bringing it up to like 13 or to 15, one of those two. So it's gonna be like 15. The goal is for everybody to get to 15. That's not 15 already, and I'm just like, bro.
15 is not enough.
15 was barely enough when me and Malaysia were fighting for it in 2008, 17, 16.
Yeah.
And guys, it's been 5 years.
It was not enough.
It wasn't enough.
And then guess what? It's not like they're gonna make it 15 next year either. They're gonna be like, and in 7 years it'll be 15. So it'll need to be 40 then. Like, that's when it'll. I think the living wage, like, median across the country is like $23.
Yeah, something like that.
Like, you need to make the minimum wage $23 by 2022. Thank you. That's what you need to do. And I think it's funny because like people will go and tell people like, oh, you're uneducated, we can't just do these things. But then if you talk to actual economists, like the ones who will tell you the truth, they'll tell you can literally do anything because it's all bullshit. It's made up. It's not like what do you the invisible hand of the market? Do you really think that like there's an invisible hand like moving things this and it's made it's imaginary. We all imagine they just do it arbitrarily. Didn't you see how Wall Street behaved with the fucking the coins and shit?
If anything has showed you how made up the American economy is, or just like any economy really, economies in general are, you should just look at what happened to GameStop.
Bro, Bill Gates and his wife had to time their freaking announcement
to after markets close before people flip out because there's so much money in their hands.
The GameStop fiasco was essentially of the missing no. Figuring out how to like duplicate your Pokemon in red and blue. It was the missing no, and everybody is like, that's a once in a lifetime situation. That'll never happen again. It will happen again.
That's how they short something people will notice.
It'll happen, and then and then people are gonna try to be even more like sneaky about it, and then other people are gonna figure it out, and it's just gonna keep. Nothing exists. None of this exists. It's just one big fucking fucking code system that people are just trying to rewrite every 5 minutes, and somebody's going, no, that's wrong, you need to rewrite it this way, and somebody's like, no, that's wrong, I've been rewriting it this way, and somebody's like, well, fuck you, why'd you update my code? I didn't ask you to. Now we gotta send you to jail.
I think what cracks me up is that there's somebody on TikTok that since like the pandemic has started pretty much, he noticed when a bunch of politicians were like buying and selling stocks, and he started buying and selling stock, and he's had like an incredible amount of growth because you know
because they be insider trading.
But Allison did say left a good comment, said this is a problem with have a minimum wage rather than a living wage. Strikers need to fight for living wage contractors, and that's on period.
Exactly.
And that's something I try and do a lot in my work. is that we talk about a living wage and like sustainability for childcare workers because they're not paid enough to take care of people's kids all fucking day. And it's
especially the assistants.
Yo, those assistants
are paid minimum wage. It's minimum, bro.
You lucky, like now a lot of them get paid better than they used to, but before assistants used to just get pennies.
Like the admin assistants?
No, like the assistants
daycare assistants.
Yeah, like not the main provider. Like these people just have like a half CDA basically, like less training. But it's like even today I wrote up some talking points for somebody and I put living wage because this concept of minimum wage don't make sense. We need something where I can survive where I live.
Right.
Where we can all survive where we live and live
to
comfortably. We shouldn't have to struggle for every fucking penny and dime.
It has to be. It has to be.
When you're working 40 hours a week and you're struggling for every penny and dime, don't make no sense.
People, and it's like amazing that people can like really fully look in these people's face, say, oh no, you don't deserve money, da da da, you're lazy, and then be like, why isn't anybody working at these stores? Like you literally like, but all. I'm
Why
sick.
aren't they at Wendy's serving me?
I'm sick of the people saying it. These jobs are just for teenagers. Like who told them that? Like minimum wage, like even the concept of minimum wage in the beginning was not for teenagers. Like it was literally, you need to make enough money to not die. That was the point. And we just are like, what do you mean?
I think
this is just for young kids.
I think the federal
but like, oh yeah, that's why
treat,
McDonald's is closed all day.
Facts. I think the federal government or whoever should treat the minimum wage the way that we treat like the drinking age, is like you have to have it. It has to be a specific age. You can do it any older or any younger. You can have your minimum wage whatever you want by state. But if you don't, we're not going to give you the same liberties of the other states that do have their minimum wage set at this.
They could just set a minimum. A living wage. A thing.
A living wage set at this.
No, they could set a thing so that set the wage, and then so that it increases at whatever like.
Inflation.
However, yes, basically with the flow of they know how to do that. They don't want to. They
don't want to, and it's gonna cut into their monies.
And it's like it's messed up because places like Denny's and stuff are like, yo, we kind of found out if you pay employees like enough money to like at least order your food at least, and like it just paid them enough money and give them a break or two, like they're better at like serving your customers. Your customers are happier and everybody's happier. They get more work done. You get more customers. You make more money. Even though you're paying them more and you don't have to increase your prices. Like,
wow. Who would have thunk?
Other places like In-N-Out is a good example of that. And like these are shitty capitalist places, but like it's literally that's the part about it that kills me is that it's just evil at this point because it's not even like it makes like monetary sense to keep the wage so low. To keep wages depressing wages doesn't actually make economic sense if you care about like capitalism shit. So
that's truly the worst part. But whatever, they gonna keep doing what they gonna do. They gonna keep lobbying to make sure people can't make more than $5 or whatever. So what is it? 7 something is the federal.
So yeah, $7.25 is the federal minimum wage. The one for like tip employees is like $2.25.
So yeah,
and then I didn't know that whole Reagan. See, I know a lot of things about that whole Reagan's economic policy, but I didn't know that his tax thing was. I didn't know that tipped employees didn't have to pay taxes until his.
Until him?
Yes, that's the thing I sent you earlier.
Yes, it was. I don't know why I didn't remember. I've been seeing a lot of Reagan hate, and I love it. Every time people bring it, look, the impact that Ronald Reagan had on our country,
he's a demon.
Speaks volumes. It's like the impact FDR had. Okay, now he had some good impact. Reagan, he just came in. He said, "You know what, guys?
Right?
Any positivity that has ever existed in this country must go."
It's hilarious because you can't say it's like illegal to say anything bad about Ronald Reagan. And he was just like he was a terribly ineffectual president. He was like awful. He was not very smart. He was like. He destroyed the economy by cutting taxes the way he did. The war on drugs as well. You see it.
Fuck the Mexican people.
It's still very funny how many
Fuck.
conservatives and Republicans still
that
live
girl
by such
Nancy,
a horrible
I
person.
don't like her either.
Nancy? Oh, Nancy.
Yeah,
I was like, Nancy who?
Nancy Reagan. You know, we talking about the Reagan.
Oh, also that picture of Joe Biden and was it with his wife or was it with Kamala? I can't remember. But they were with the
the
Yeah.
Carters.
and
yes.
that wide
That was
lens
his
made them
wife.
look like they were in a fish tank.
Yeah.
That shit was
Also,
hilarious.
when I first saw Joe Biden and the Carters, you know, I thought it was gonna be Beyonce and Jay-Z. Not gonna hold you, I'm a nigger.
You know, just a little bit.
But but that picture was hilarious. Like they literally look like dolls. Like
in a fishbowl, like for a beta fish, that was like it was like the Simpsons.
Beta.
Like, shut up, Ken. They were in a little fishbowl. They plopped them down into the fishbowl so the fish wouldn't be lonely. Fish still gonna die because it's not supposed to be there. But anyway,
you have to give a beta. The goldfish needs space, by the way.
Snow Bunny Crisis
Okay.
Therapy.
Okay, anyway,
Black male
Liz.
beta coons.
Liz Cheney. All right, let's get on to Republican mess. Liz Cheney from Wyoming. What's Washington, Wyoming?
I have.
Please.
She's a Republican and she's a goofball.
Okay,
That's what I know about Liz Cheney.
She's a Republican and also a goofball.
Wyoming's U.S. rep. Anywho, okay,
Wyoming.
here we go.
That's why she's getting taken down from her position so easily.
The bitch won't shut up about Trump, rightfully so. She's like, this is wrong. He's been lying about this election. This is fucked
It's
up.
hilarious. I need sis to understand. I'm confused as to why this was her breaking point.
Hey,
They
please.
literally they knew that he did ask the president of Ukraine to
Do some fuck
do
shit, yeah.
stuff in return for aid. They knew that Donald Trump did all these things and she's like, well, I didn't know that he would incite an insurrection after he lost the election. Why didn't you? I knew. I think a lot of people knew.
Mm-hmm.
It was very recently. And I just it's really funny that she seems to be shocked that her colleagues are not.
She's shocked that the Republican Party is trash.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me because I'm like, you were sitting here doing the same thing.
It's this level. It's really peak white woman. I think she's very offended that she didn't know something like that could happen from her party. When
And
you're
the fact
so,
that she's getting in trouble,
engulfed in your own head, that you don't think about oh, something could go wrong. She didn't think, and then suddenly, life got very bad around her.
So I just want to say that Trump is bad. Oh wait, y'all still like him?
aren't they taking her off her committees?
Yes,
and
they're
stuff?
and this is the reason why it was important news this week is because they're taking her down from her position as she has a position
She's the
in
conference
the Republican
chair.
There we go.
House GOP conference chair.
So they're taking her from the position because, she don't support Trump, even though Trump no longer their president. But whatever. So what that has effectively also caused is the fact that 100 Republicans... Now, when I first saw it, I didn't know which way to take it. I was like, 100 Republicans leaving for what? For who? But they're leaving because they see this as kind of... The Republican Party for a while has been showing signs of... splitting up for the fact that a lot of them lean very heavily, and it's the same thing as when the Tea Party started. Mm-hmm. A lot of them lean heavily one way, and a lot of them are still very moderate conservatives,
quote unquote moderate as any conservative in America is.
So 100 of them are
crazy right wing.
This is a threat to our democracy. There's a preamble and a whole bunch of bullshit.
They're like, look, we're the Declaration of Independence.
Very dramatic, but also them threatening to leave now is hilarious because now after Trump's left, after Trump has done everything he's done, now is when you're like, oh, here's where my boundary is. Yeah. Here's the line.
Well, he's not the one doing it anymore.
What was I gonna say? I just want to say, IDK, where they finna go, because those 100 Republicans better not be trying to join the Democrat. I'm not even a Democrat. I don't even give a fuck about them for real. But that's just gonna be even more annoying. We don't need any more centrism. We don't need any more right-leaningness from the freaking Democrats.
Just become libertarians.
They're so Democrats are so.
Also, LOL, I put it's supposed to say look at the Democrats pussy assholes, and the reason I put that is because Democrats would never do this shit. They always want to be like, no, we're a unified party. No, if y'all pussy ass hoes, 100 of you, would just say, we're not taking this shit, y'all aren't doing what we need to do as a party, what are they gonna do? The
Republican,
not thinking.
And everybody knows the Republican Party. I mean, it's been leading. If you've been watching and paying attention to politics for like a while, it's been like leading up to this for years. Since like Nixon really fully. It's been leading because like you can't, because once they had to stop like saying the N-word and they had to start dog whistling, like you can't. You can't ride on white ethnopolitics forever. It's gonna start getting more and more extreme because like the demographics are gonna change. There's people like things are gonna change, so they have to just keep getting more and more extreme because that's the only thing they have. What policy positions do they have besides anti-abortion and white identity politics? Those are the only. That's the basis of Republican policy.
And so it's always funny, Republican all polls say all the time, first of all, there are, like Malaysia said, no Republican policies actually exist, really. But the American population likes very progressive, left, whatever way you want to say it, liberal policies. They just need it framed a certain way. A lot of us all want the same things. We all want to make a livable wage. We all want jobs. We all want our kids to live well and go to school and have these healthy environments. They just don't know that these kind of like things exist, or they're framed a certain way, or they're afraid of it because their party has shown them that like these people are bad. Any of their ideas are socialist, communist, and that's it.
Or like who it's coming from too. Like somebody like AOC saying like, we need blank, and they're like, oh no, it's just this like Green Party like little tramp who don't know what she's talking about. But I'm pretty sure if like Biden said something even remotely close to that, people would still be like, nah, but they'd be more inclined to.
For so many reasons. Also, Allison has a couple good comments. About Liz Cheney, she said it speaks volumes about the power shift in the party. Her dad couldn't protect her position, and I think people like deeply underestimate like the Tea Party thing. Like people really when the Republicans sort of absorbed them back in, people really like ignored it in a lot of ways. They're like, okay, they're with the Republicans. They're gonna be regular now, and it's like, no, they're just gonna make everything more extreme. Like so. I think, like, again, it's a culmination of everything. It was only ever going to lead up to this. It was only ever going to lead up to Trump and the next Trump and whoever else is going to do, white terrorism shit. It's only ever going to lead up to that. Also, the next thing she said was about, in terms of Republican policy, nationalism in the military. Yes, basically. And the military is why, because they'll give military funding, but they don't want soldiers to get paid or have health care or like anything.
Or like be okay mentally.
Yeah, like mental health. Like no, they just want to send them to war.
All the former vets on TikTok that are like, if you don't report an injury, they'll never cover you for it afterwards. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you knew I was serving the country for like 5 years, and you knew how I came in before because they test you.
Exactly.
So you're telling me that right after I leave, suddenly this injury that obviously was during my time doesn't exist to you?
And it's good. Bullshit. Right. And it's good that you're talking about the military because we're going to jump into international news.
Free Palestine.
I just like people, there is no both sides to apartheid. There's no both sides to the fact that there's a country, a state actor who is attacking civilian buildings, civilian locations, a city that the densest city in the world, one of the densest cities in the world in terms of population. There will never be an excuse. And unequivocally, Israel is wrong, unequivocally. And no, there should never. Sorry, people are gonna be very upset. Unequivocally, there should never have been, and there should never be a Jewish ethno-state. There shouldn't be a Christian ethno-state. There shouldn't be a Muslim ethno-state or a Hindu ethno-state or a Jainist ethno-state. Like, because when the state is about religion, that means people who are not of that religion will always be marginalized. There's no possible way for that not to be the case. I'm sorry to liberal Jews who want to feel like, well, Israel deserves. No, it doesn't. Israel does not deserve to exist. Israel, I'm sorry to say, Israel as it exists is a representation of white supremacy, of Western imperialism. England and the United States and European powers were like, bruh, we don't want these people. Like, oh no, we let Hitler kill all these people, so let's force these other brown people. Let's force these brown people out of their space and give it to these people who are not quite brown, but we just don't like them that much.
Never forget really that their solution was, hey, here you go, get away from us. A bunch of you just died, were killed, had to run away from your homes, have lived on the run for like 4+ years. You know what our solution is? Go somewhere else. Like, take somebody else's home.
And also,
go somewhere else.
And also, like, let's not forget that, like, Israel, like, that space in Israel, like, Jerusalem specifically, is still to this day, like, one of the major trade routes, like, in the Middle East. And
yeah, no, like, if we want to talk about why Israel exists,
yeah,
like, we all know
wild
that Israel exists to have a space of white nationalism in the Middle East, so that countries like Iran and like, you know, back when we weren't, like, everybody wasn't dying and starving in Syria and places like that, so that they wouldn't be able to be powerful, wouldn't be able to, you know, for instance, control their oil, keep Western interventionism out of their area. Like, when you're a world away, it's a lot harder to control those people. But if you have a little hyper militarized country where they force everybody to be in the military, and we give them so many weapons, give them so much money,
basically build their military, like,
do you know why the only reason Palestinians are able to get bombed is because of the United States. So when we talk to Joe Biden, it's Joe Biden's fault, to be clear. Mm-hmm. It's all these people's fault, to be clear. Like, and it's sickening. Like, they refuse. Like, I know the Markey teens are very upset at Ed Markey. I wish he wouldn't be like that too. But, like, this is, how can we ever expect? These are agents of the state. These are agents of imperialism, of American imperialism. Why would we ever expect them to defend a country that's under attack by American imperialism? Like, I don't understand what the pathology, like, even just saying it is like,
it's wild.
These people rather just watch Palestinians be erased.
And it was
that's what they want. That's what they want. They want Palestinians to just be erased from history, and they want to take it all over. I saw a video today. It was quite... Anytime I see them, every time stuff like this, like when a major incident happens between Israel and Palestine, there's always a video of a Jewish person, an Israeli Jewish person, going wild, talking about how we're going to take all of this land. And I'm like... Damn, like, did Judaism teach you nothing? Do you know nothing of your religion, of your God? Like, that you would be such a vindictive and such a horrible person to want to kill and,
so,
like,
take the my thing, right, that's my thing. Like, I just linked an article that I read, and it's by a Jewish person talking about why I can't remember let me look what it's called. There's a word that Palestinians have for when, in 1948, I wasn't on Facebook. In 1948, they kicked them all out, or 48, 49, whatever it was. It's called it starts with an N. It's like Nabka, or is it Nakba? Nakba? I think it's called Nakba. And that's what they call, like, that horrible time when they're all kicked out or whatever. Yes, Nakba.
But I wouldn't just blame Biden. I would blame Biden. I would blame
just Biden for, like, right now.
Right now.
Yeah, but that's
but I'm saying like this is like you might want to do like a class action lawsuit against, like, just the executive power.
That's what I mean. It's like that's what I mean. These people are agents of American imperialism, and American imperialism is why Palestine is exists in the sense that it exists. Yeah. Like, why so many people have been shoved out of their homes to make room for white nationalism. It's like, that's, there's no other side to it. Like, there's no other side to an army attacking. Palestine is not a country. Like, literally, under jurisdiction of Israel. Like,
Facts. Just
people are
control.
starving. They're like just I like when people talk about they want to talk about Hamas using human shields. Like, please understand that you literally there is no space in Gaza. There's no space. Like, it's so densely populated that like anyone could say anybody's using a human shield. Like, everybody's on top of each other.
I would like to note for people that I saw some comment about Palestinians using like child workers or child something, and I wanted to point out to people that a place like Palestine that has been pretty much bombed and like abused for the past since 48.
Yeah.
I don't know how long that is. I don't know.
It's like 80 years.
The average age of a Palestinian is 20. The average age, the worldwide average age is 28. They like you have to understand the repercussions of a population that has not been allowed to live,
Right,
either
like
from like childhood up or just live to age. Like, your average age being 20 is something that is so horrendous and speaks volumes to how Israel has just committed atrocities towards the Palestinian people.
literal, and then it's literal apartheid, because even the people who live in Jerusalem, for instance, these most recent bombings had started with people they're trying to evict people from East Jerusalem, which they've been trying to do for decades upon decades.
Median age of an Israeli is 30.
For decades upon decades, they've been trying to evict these Palestinians from their
Their land.
you know, their homes in East Jerusalem.
For millennia.
And like, those Palestinians are treated as second class citizens under the law. They can't ride on buses to Gaza. They can't Israelis can claim any land that, like, they have proof of their family owning land. They could go claim it in Gaza, but a Palestinian can't do the same. Like, they're not even like, Israel won't give them building permits for their houses. So sometimes the IDF will just come and be like, "Yo, you gotta
we need this.
you gotta destroy your house, or we're gonna come destroy it and charge you to destroy it."
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's literally it's apartheid. There's no defending it. And Allison mentioned a good point, which is very true, and y'all know how I feel about Joe Biden, and I've said it so many times, and yeah, anyway. But Allison said, Biden has been leader in the U.S. imperialist system for decades. There's almost no person in modern history more responsible. And that's true, because Biden was he was both Speaker of the House and he was the Senate Majority Leader for a while. He's been Vice President. He's now President. He was Biden has been part of this system since, if you want to talk about conflict in the Middle East, Joe Biden has to be in the conversation.
He's been in that seat.
So
yeah, the only reason I said not just Joe is because it's been an effort by America, Saudi Arabia, a few joint forces, the British, to just make sure that Palestine does not exist for no good reason.
The Crusades. That's it, really. They've been trying to kick Muslim people out of Jerusalem or keep them away from Jerusalem for hundreds of years. And it was just accentuated. Not to dilute it, but it was accentuated with the Holocaust reparations, and it's even more accentuated the more people just like keep sticking their nose in the wrong way. America, the wrong way. Stick your nose in it the right way.
Don't stop giving Israel money. That, like, it would be a lot harder for them to bomb anybody if we weren't literally funding them doing that. There's that. That's the direct, like, simple, actually under the system way to do it. So yeah, like, yeah, there's nothing to say. There's nothing
Free
to say.
That's it. Free Palestine. Until then,
Free TK, free Palestine. R.I.P. Betty White.
Okay. Now moving on to our last segment, which we'll try and wrap up quickly because it's been a long show.
Yeah.
All right, baseball. So there was this video this week that went viral of these, I believe they were both Dominican, and I believe one might be like a Dominican from Boston, but this college team, and they were playing, somebody hit like a home run, and they...
It was like he hit a home run, right? But it was like he had hit like 7 home runs or something crazy in the game. Like it was like a good reason to celebrate. Like it wasn't just he hit a home run regular, like and he dropped and he like tossed his, but like it was a reason to celebrate. But anyway,
and so per usual, very traditional, old school. Baseball fans are like, this is too much. I can't believe this isn't professional. This isn't sportsmanship. I want y'all to shut the fuck up. And this is why there are not that there aren't, but why baseball isn't seen as a sport for black people. Because as soon as you see, and it's mainly been black people that have done this, as soon as you see people like Big Papi, as soon as you see these like these 2 young adults play baseball and have a little flair, have a little pizzazz, have something that brings attention to the sport, you want to shut it down. You want to say, no, this isn't the way our sport is played. You want to say, this isn't the way this is done, because that's not the way you do it.
They want Dominican baseball players for their power. Don't want them for their style.
Don't want it for the sauce. And it's been a thing that's been happening for a very long time with baseball. I think I saw somewhere, I think Lee or Chip might have posted it, or Dart Adams, one of those 3 people, because they all watch baseball. Because black men like baseball.
Nate.
Wow, what a surprise.
Nate, who plays MLB The Show.
Like, the 80s, there was a
This
higher...
is like the only person I know who does, too.
Yeah, same. In the 80s, the percentage of, like, black young kids that wanted to play baseball was much higher than it is now. And why? Because we don't care about marketing to young black kids anymore for baseball, even though baseball is one of the best sports to play because it's one of the, like, least... like
physically taxing,
oh my God,
and highest paid in the United States.
Them guaranteed checks, look, them Dominicans be cashing in.
Manny Ramirez, I'll never forget the story.
Manny
Ramirez used to just leave his checks in his car, like, nah, I don't need to cash those. I got so much money, I don't even cash them. That's terrible.
But this is something that's like a growing issue with baseball, because this is something that's been happening for at least 10 years. People have been like, nobody's watching the World Series. Nobody's blah, blah, blah. Nobody wants to do this. Nobody wants to do that. Why? Because you're not appealing to the right people.
Because baseball is... Because y'all be wanting to make things boring. Like, the reason... The way black people revolutionized sports, even like in the beginning with baseball, even the reason it's like interesting to this day is because of black people integrating. Like, so...
It's just sick because there's a clear sign to get young kids into baseball. It's like an easy sport. It doesn't involve too much equipment. Like, there's so much that could make baseball a great sport for young black kids, like male and female. And we're just like, nope. And we have like Mookie Betts. We have like, there are so many
Jackie Bradley.
Major like athletes that are really good that we're not like
Xander Bogaerts,
a lovely Arubian. Is that what they're called? He's from Aruba.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called. A lovely person from Aruba. There are a bunch of black Dominicans. There are a bunch of just black Americans that, like, Mookie Betts is in LA. He plays for the Dodgers. Why is there no sense of making him the biggest star in baseball right now?
Black man.
Like, it's just lost on me. But next we'll talk
Pop Warner.
Mookie.
Oh yes, Pop Warner. Yeah, no.
So in connection to sports that are less likely to have you messed up, Pop Warner is not one of those. And why are we still letting like small children play tackle football? I wouldn't let my kid play any kind of football, really, even touch, sorry. But tackle football, like, there was this video, the reason this came up was because there's this video today on Twitter, and it showed, they must have been about 7, 8, one of them might have been older. I think the smaller one was like 6, and the older one looked about 8, and there was like a running back and like I guess I don't know, somebody coming from across. Mm-hmm. I don't know what they're supposed to be because they weren't doing it right.
It was just it was like a drill.
Yeah, I don't know what their like positions were supposed to be. But basically, one homie was running this way and the other homie was running this way, and the running back kind of like tucked his head, because I think you're supposed to like run in forward. You're supposed to like tuck your head and do the thing. And
your head is your protection for a ball.
And they and they hit helmets. And because because the running back dude was going at the speed and he was way bigger, the other boy got knocked to the ground. And, you know, then the video was short. So then people were like, oh, you fine, get up. I'm like, no, I don't think he's fine.
No.
Like, and like, then people wanted to be like, well, you know, kids gonna get hurt. You guys are so, if you know football, this how it gotta be.
You don't need your brain rocked.
It's literally like CTEs, bro. Like, because the tweet was like, they're gonna be going, somebody said he's gonna be going to kindergarten with a brain full of applesauce. Like, and it's like, we know that it only takes one hit, especially when you're that young, to cause like a traumatic brain injury for the rest of your life.
I still remember somebody from BLA said they still remember when they got hit and they didn't really like do anything about it, and they still have like long-term like headaches and other effects from just getting one hit, and you want to do that to babies? Like
there's no way. And, like, why are you running a drill that involves, like, that shouldn't be a drill. Getting hit should not be a drill.
Look, they're children. Children should not be full banging into each other. That's why, like, a lot of us that have played sports, you grow up and you have body issues and you don't, like tendons, joints, aches, and pains that you have to deal with because you were hurt as a kid and all they told you is just walk it off. And deal with it. Just live with it.
And it's different than regular play because, like, if you're not in, like, somebody mentioned how, like, if you're not in padding, you are more aware of how you could hurt somebody. Mm-hmm. But if everybody's padded up, helmet up, it feels safe to hit somebody really hard.
I wasn't even practicing. I showed up to a practice to sign up for Pop Warner the year before I played. And somebody in practice, like, it just got out of hand, and two people, like, somebody got tackled, and two people ran into my shin and, like, broke my leg for the rest of the year. So I couldn't even like, I went to
terrible.
I went to like practice with them that day, and I couldn't play for the rest of the year.
Crippled.
Yeah, and then I had to play the next year.
Yes.
Damn. And you left fucked up.
Yeah. Left with your leg fucked up.
Trying to fix it. Anywho, okay, so now we live in a simulation, and I'm here to tell you why. Because Ben Affleck and J-Lo have been pictured together too many times in the past 2 weeks.
But I missed the conversation about Ben Affleck and the Riot Girl. That was funny.
Me too. I was like, how did also J-Lo?
I don't know why don't you just? I feel like if it was this is the same thing I feel about Bill Gates and the old lover. Why are we going backwards, guys? If you're like this rich, famous, beautiful, in J-Lo's case, I don't know about Bill, sorry. If you're that person, why aren't you like going? I be scrolling through, you know, Hollywood. What's up? Because you know, she has that Halle Berry thing where people are still like, yeah, J-Lo.
Yes, they love a J-Lo, and I'm like,
ooh, J-Lo.
Even if you're just friends, I find the dynamic so weird. The man left you.
I'm bringing Bennifer into it, Calvin. We all bringing Bennifer.
The man left you for a white woman. For a white woman named Jennifer.
A whiter woman named Jennifer.
You telling me? Look, you never see my
face
again. You go watch me.
I don't know how you let a white man leave you and then go back.
He got a phoenix tattoo on his back. I don't understand the point.
I mean, he had homie in the Jenny from the Block video, like.
And now he's rising.
I feel like
his ashes.
I feel like the only person that it would be fair if she went back to is Diddy, but only because he's rich, like.
Yes, because he's up to par.
Like, only because he's on the level.
And he's not like an alcoholic. Not that being an alcoholic is bad. Oh, J-Lo, come on.
It is if it actually... He's no good.
His son is looking for revenge after the whole Lori Harvey thing.
I mean, J-Lo has dated Drake. Boy, that was a weird time.
So that's the thing. We live in a simulation. This is 2004 again. Hi guys. We're all
don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm
also
just
the Mandela effect.
Used to have a little, now I have a lot.
Okay, no. Now we're on to Joe Budden. Our last topic.
Oh yeah, Joe Budden.
Okay, guys. So I woke up today and I didn't know what the day would bring me. But what I found when I logged on to Twitter was that Joe Budden
It's wild.
had basically officially finally broken up the Joe Budden podcast. And the perspective I have as somebody that I listened to this podcast, I found it quite entertaining. Even though, like, they had a lot of problematic statements, it was quite funny to listen to people just kind of fuck around with their homies for 3 hours. And, so cool. So, whatever. Anywho, if you don't know, a couple weeks ago, they kind of had, like, a little tiff.
Spat.
Where, so it's Joe, Rory, and Mal. They've all kind of collectively been friends for, like, Joe and Mal for, like, 15 plus years. Joe and Rory for, like, 10-ish or less. They had a spat because Rory, who is white, was like, what's with the, like, equity, like, what's with the, like, the deals we're having, what's with the stuff, like, I want to have more in this. And Joe Budden was effectively just saying, like, you're an employee, you don't matter. And I don't know if y'all know anything about Joe Budden.
I'm gonna say the same. If y'all, like, Joe Budden, first of all, the way Joe Budden, like, talks to people is not okay. No. And, like, the fact that the man is alive to this day is interesting to me. But, like, the thing about Joe Budden also is that, like, he's a bad person. In pretty much every way. Like, in terms of, like, with his relationships and, you know, with women, with his financial, his children, you know, even with his addiction, like, he was a very toxic person through that. Joe Budden is not a good guy. He's very selfish, and he's angry. That's an angry motherfucker, and it's scary. Yes. Like, I don't even understand how people could be around that. But I wouldn't be comfortable to be around him, to be honest.
Facts. Yeah, especially as, like, a woman. Oh, like, my God, I wouldn't even be comfortable to be around
Joe. But the funny part, I was laughing at the video of them talking to Charlamagne. Charlamagne, like, why y'all let
Charlamagne has predicted it. Yeah.
I mean, but like I don't like. So Charlamagne back like however long ago when they named it the Joe Budden podcast.
Like 3 years ago, I think.
Was like, why y'all let him name it the Joe Budden podcast? Now y'all know he's not gonna give y'all nothing. Like, you know, Joe. Like, and Joe sitting there, ha 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 ha, like it's a joke, but he know dead ass. He know damn well, because that's why he wasn't even offended, because he knows it's true. He know he was planning to do them dirty from the jump. And my thing is, like, I don't understand how you even start not knowing anything, bro. Like, how you start. Yo, these niggas be. It's nobody listening to no Vaseline, bro. It's been so many years, dog. Y'all still in 360 deals with freaking with freaking podcast producers and stuff. Like,
please, it's sickening. It's just really sick because this man was screaming about, what's that show on the one with academics.
Yeah, Everyday Struggle. Yeah.
Screaming about how Complex wasn't paying him. Screaming about how Spotify wasn't giving him his proper equity, his proper payment, wasn't giving them what they wanted. They had a fucked up contract. But when his employees/friends want the same equity, the same treatment that he's been screaming for, and this is beyond just, like, the podcast. He's been screaming about this stuff since, like, his whole career.
He like people were talking about how, like, he screamed at Lil Yachty for not knowing, like, the details of his contract. Then Rory and Mal want to act the details of their contract. He's like, no, no.
Or Meg Thee Stallion when she wanted it, when she was inquiring more, but they were signed to a Spotify deal where they couldn't take a vacation. That shit was hilarious. When they found out, when they didn't think in their heads to ask Spotify for a vacation. They didn't think to put that stuff in their contract. But then now that they're on their Patreon, whatever, now that they're on their own, suddenly his homies are now his brothers are now his employees. You work for me. You don't bring to the podcast what you think you bring.
I'm like, what do you mean, Joe? Because if so, it would, like, it's not just you though. No. Like,
I was unfollowing Joe Budden.
It's not just you, dog. I'm like it's. Yeah, I don't know what Joe Budden thinks this is, bro.
It's very sick because this is a conversation we have a lot. And Calvin said something about Diddy, but this is, and it's funny because Joe Budden also works for Diddy through Revolt, through a show that I don't even know if it's on anymore because of COVID. But he's learning from the best thief of all. That the only equity you get is is me. I get the equity. You get left behind.
One day somebody's gonna have to really talk about the predatoriness of the rap industry specifically, in a sense, not only in the sense of like the the contracts and stuff like that, but just like the whole culture of just taking. There's a lot of culture of just thieving people's shit and being like, fuck you if they can't fight you back. And there's just not to mention a culture of violence, especially towards women and stuff like that. But like in terms of like it's weird because Black culture as a whole is not that it's not like that. Mm-mm. But in mainstream rap culture, it's really
it's music culture in general. Music culture is super the music culture is very contractually predatory.
Well, yes, that's true. I think, but I
and
seriously think
even more into like hip hop.
That's true. I really, but I think like there's the way it like I think the level of vitriol that they give to people when they know that they screwed them purposely. Yeah. I feel like that's unique to hip hop because like Jay-Z does that shit all the time. Joe Budden, for instance, is doing it with Worry About. Like they be like calling you stupid for calling them out for doing something to you. It'd be like, well,
Meg Thee Stallion last year when she was, or like a year and a half ago when she was asking more questions about a contract that was signed when her mother was still alive. Like when like her life was much different. Like when it's just really sick how much they'll take advantage of you and how they want you to accept them taking advantage of you. Yeah. Like, especially like with this case with Joe Budden, it's to me especially disgusting because they're his friends. Like Maul at one point has gone to jail for Joe. You don't go to jail for just
Joe Budden. That's what I'm telling you. Joe Budden is not a good person. Like as a whole, Joe Budden is not a good person. He's a bad person. He has bad vibes. I don't know. Like if you look at Joe Budden, he has bad vibes. He's a scary person.
He has sinister vibes.
Yeah, he's scary. I'm telling you, he's scary. And I'm not like the man is scary. Like that's not a person you want to be alone with or near.
Like it's just like I think about it because obviously we have obvious nonsense. There are the four of us. There's never a point in my life where I would want to ever take away like Malaysia Isoters and the Curious equity from our company that we started together.
Why would I want my friends to be poor? Even if they're not my friends, I would never want them to be poor. Niggas don't even have to do nothing. If we started the company together, whatever makes money, we all make money. Like that's.
My thing is, if you really wanted to make money on your own, then start something on your own aside from whatever it is that you're doing with your friends, so that you can make money on your own. You don't got to you don't got to like include them in that extra thing if you don't want to. But if you're working on some shit with your friends, like, and they're pulling their fucking weight, like, absolutely, I believe. Maul was fucking pulling his fucking weight.
Joe Biden. Oh man, Joe Budden is wilding because like. What is the like? It's not like is he just sacrificing his life? He's just sacrificing like his life because what's gonna happen? Like unless it's gonna be like people are joking about Charlemagne Academics and Joe Budden again, like because who like it's just worry about art. Like it's not like it could just be Joe. Or even be Joe and some random person. They're important to the dynamic. Is those two specifically?
It's so important. To me, the only way I got really into the podcast was with the three of them. Like when there are episodes when somebody was missing, I was like, vibes off. I don't like it. Like a podcast without like me or without Malaysia. It's not a podcast. That's not authentic. It's not what it is. The Joe Budden podcast became what it is. Because you had Maul on his damn phone for like 2 hours straight. You were like, what the fuck is this man doing on his phone? Saying things half the time don't make sense. Believe in Republican stuff. What's Rory doing just being white? What's Parks doing just being very tall?
The Joe Budden podcast need Maul with his terrible takes.
His terrible
Maul had takes. The worst takes on everything.
Every single thing. The worst takes, but it was fun. It was fun to hear a bunch of bros hanging out, being chill.
It's barbershop talk, sometimes it's nice to
It's fun to learn what men like to think about certain situations. What's this?
I was looking like, what the hell is going on?
When Twitter's showing you something spicy.
What the hell is going on there, huh? Nah, but, yeah, Anyway, it's almost 11 o'clock, y'all.
Yeah, so Joe Budden's trash for this. I hate it. Parks, I'm very disappointed in Parks also, by the way. I sticking by somebody like Joe Budden is very...
Why would you stick by Joe Budden? Joe Budden, like, sticking by Joe Budden is like sticking by Donald Trump. You know he's gonna do you dirty in the end. Like,
you know, and it's maybe it's like that thing where you never think it's gonna happen to you until it happens to you. And you know, Parks has also known him for like 10 plus years and has worked on him countless albums. So like, whatever, Parks also doesn't make his money primarily from this. Like, this is one of his sources of income, but he's just a producer. He's an engineer. He has a studio. Like, this is not just how he makes his money. So we'll never forget that aspect of that. He's still a white man that is buddy-buddy with Joe Budden's manager. So there are levels to that relationship that also need to be unpacked. But, like, Parks got an in that Rory and Mal never would have had. Yeah,
see? That's why you gotta bring... see, like, you can't replace either of us. That's why you gotta bring something irreplaceable, fully irreplaceable. They have to know it's irreplaceable.
Also, Joe Budden did try and replace him with other people for a couple episodes, and everybody's like, wow, I was getting used to them. And I was like, that's because you pussy ass hoes and you have no loyalty. Thank you.
I'm like, no. Like I said, I think it's important to have the dynamic of those three specifically. I don't think it's the same or interesting or fun without that. But anyway, fuck Joe Budden. Fuck Joe Biden. Free Palestine.
Free Syria.
Free Syria.
Syria needs freedom.
In SARS.
What else?
Fuck the police.